may be liable for a $25 million fine. Now, I'm not sure about this, and it's just a hunch I have, but I have a suspicion that it's very important for every single kid in town to be in school. Now, unfortunately for you, my son is not part of this town. He is a fact, and he is not a birth certificate vessel. Therefore, um, you can either exclude him from your books. But if this has anything to do with the ARPA funds, which I suspect it does, and that every single child has to be in school, which is why you maybe are pushing this so hard, either that or you haven't liked that I've been vocal about things that are wrong with the school and the things that you are doing so poorly, very poorly. All of you saving your own jobs just at the expense of our kids is disgusting. So, oh, and that also reminds me, I did actually go see the police officer who came to my door about a month ago. Well, actually, I guess it was a month and a half ago now. I did go to see him um, in the spring before school was out to talk to him about masks and masking my kid, and how I sent a letter saying that I did not give consent to the principal. And of course, the principal denied it. And um, my kid was trying to, do what the other kids would do and didn't want to, be too much of a problem, and trying to get an exemption. Um, and I did go see the a particular police officer about this, trying to press child abuse charges, and was absolutely no help at all. I mean, zero help. Yes, we had a very nice conversation, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. You were zero help. At the time, I didn't realize it, but now that I see what lengths you will go to keep your own job, because clearly when you think somebody who has more authority than you do says something and you're worried about your job, then you take action. Then you worried about the kids. You didn't worry about my kid back in the spring when I came to you for help. So as far as I'm concerned, my patience is getting very thin for you, and you know who you are. Um, the other thing I wanted to share is another story. Now, this is very bad news, as I said, for Holliston Public Schools. A claim of this magnitude, which I am authorized to stake, is really going to be devastating for the schools. Those ARPA funds, I don't know how much your town is getting. Your town, it's not mine. Is it $1 million? I don't know. But if there's a fine for $25 million, you do the math. I mean, that's pretty easy. Okay, so the other crime that's being committed here is racketeering. So, an organized conspiracy to commit the crimes of extortion. Oh, this is from Black's Law Dictionary again. Extortion or coercion, or attempts to commit extortion or coercion. From the standpoint of extortion, it is the obtaining of money or property from another without his consent, induced by the wrongful use of force or fear. The fear, which constitutes the legally necessary element in extortion, is induced by oral or written threats to do an unlawful injury to the property or the threatened person by means of explosives, fire, or likewise otherwise. Or, now that part didn't apply, but this part, or to kill, kidnap, or injure him, or a relative of his, or some member of his family. Now, you may ask, well, it's not like they're trying to get money out of you. Well, in fact, they are, because according to this Massachusetts law that Principal David Keim kindly alerted me to. Massachusetts, it was Law 76, Section 2, I believe it was. The penalty for this, for failure to send child to school, is what they call it, is no more than $20. So, but it is $20. So here, so there is money there. So I've been threatened this way. And then this one, oh, and let me open this up. This one's beautiful. I'm going to open this one up for you. Okay. Adult criminal complaint, Deborah DiGiorno. And who filed this complaint? None other than David N. Kime. And there's his necromancy signature right there. So here's another, look at all the boxing. Look at that. Yeah, fictitious language and fictitious name. This is all, the other thing too is the way this is written, note where a division of the juvenile court department has been formally blah, blah, blah. Here, this is a good one. Okay, to the above named defendant, this fictitious name over here. You are hereby ordered to appear to this court on the date and time indicated above to answer a complaint, a copy of which is attached, alleging that you have committed the offense described in the complaint. Please report to the probation office upon your arrival at the court. Well, as I said before, rules of boxing, this is just an opinion. I'm not going to this. Not in a million years. Now, I have a sneaking suspicion. This is for, let's see. Oh, they want me there. Well, they don't want me there. They want Deborah DiGiorno there. This fictitious name. So this person does not exist and will not be there on November 4th, 2021. The reason I know that is because this isn't really a demand. This isn't a legal demand, not like the kind that's actually authorized to be sent. This is the kind of demand that puts people in jail and I don't know, possibly bankrupts a whole town for $25 million. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see how this plays out because now, so obviously, Deborah-Anne, D-Giorno will not be appearing at this court at this date. So that 11/4, that is next Thursday. So on 11/5, I better not see any form of a police officer or someone masquerading as a police officer come to this premises. And I'll tell you why. Because if you come to this premises while I'm carrying my Title IV flag and you have no flag at all, do you know what that makes you? It makes you a foreign vessel in dry dock. And for anybody who's in the military or especially in the Navy, I don't know. What do you do with somebody who's not carrying proper papers? A foreign vessel in dry dock. What do you do with a person like that? I mean, if somebody comes to my door threatening me, and they're a foreign vessel in dry dock, I don't know. Use your imagination. You can imagine what would happen to somebody like that who comes threatening, who has absolutely zero authority or right. And I would really recommend you to get advice. Please get advice. I don't think any of you are doing this out of spite. Well, I think actually a couple of you are doing it out of spite, but I don't think you realize how much trouble you're putting yourself in. It's not a game that you're playing. These ARPA funds, you're trying to get, I don't know, an extra feather in your cap. You're all very, very concerned about your titles and who thinks you're great. And here I am, a person who, well, not a person, I'm a human being who just doesn't care what people think. I just want to live a peaceful life, not worrying about what you people think. I don't want your involvement. I'm not part of your village. I don't need a village to help me raise my son. I've seen the village, as that meme says, and I'm all set. The last thing I wanted to talk about is, good stuff. Last good stuff. Here we go. Okay. So there's an agreement here. It's called Agreement between the Holliston Federation of Teachers and the Holliston School Committee regarding health and safety. Okay, now when these, we'll call them contracts because that's what you think they are. When these contracts are written, they're not written in any form of a fact. The reason I know that is because a lawyer and a judge are not the kind of judge I am. one of those fake actor judges that puts on the black robe. Okay, so when judges and lawyers are in court, no law shall be tried in court. Ask a judge or a lawyer. They're not allowed to try any facts in court. So all of these contracts are written in adverb, verb, or an adjective pronoun. And what that means is if everything is an adverb, verb, or adjective pronoun, there's no facts anywhere on the page. If there was a fact on the page and it was tried in court, they could be disbarred. So that's why I know there are no facts on this. But I've gone ahead and I've syntaxed this. Oh, and for anybody who doesn't know, this is about the mandatory, that thing for any of the school staff. So same thing with these people violating, it's criminal conspiracy again. I know you don't know you're doing it, but you are. So you have this fictitious language. Get in trouble for that. We've already talked about what that would mean for fictitious language. I went and syntaxed the whole thing, and it's every single word had to be syntaxed. I mean, agreement between the Holliston Federation of Teachers. I mean, agreement, that's a pronoun. The A in front of it, no contract. This stuff is going to be very technical, and I just don't want to go into it because unless you have some sort of knowledge about fictitious language, it's just not going to mean anything to anybody. But I am sending this out tomorrow back to the Holliston Federation of Teachers and the Holliston School Committee. It is signed by what looks like the superintendent of schools, pronoun, adverb, verb, and then Holliston Federation of Teachers, and that is adjective, pronoun, no contract, adverb, and pronoun. So also signed in necromancy. So I suspect those two people will get these when I send them tomorrow, when I'm actually taking a claim, sending a stop and correct. Now, the stop and correct, that was the Title 42, Section 1986. That stop and correct, I suggest you heed this command because failure to heed that command will result in an additional command that involves criminal conspiracy. Same thing that's happening with those other two claims that I've already made. So maybe ask your lawyer again, ask your lawyers, and maybe don't ask the school lawyers because they're not really looking for your best interest. They're actually looking for the school. And even then, they're doing a terrible, terrible job about this. So ask somebody you trust. Don't ask somebody who you think is super duper smart. Ask somebody who actually might know something about what I'm talking about. Because if they've never heard of this before, they're just going to give you some really bad advice. So that's all I have. I really hope that when people watch this, they please pass it around to other people in the town of Holliston. I think people need to be aware that this is happening. I apologize. I know this is going to be over a lot of heads, and it wasn't my intention, but people need to be aware that their actions, while they think they're giving themselves authority to do these things, what they're really doing is putting themselves at huge risk of criminal conspiracy, huge penalties, as we saw with the $25 million. So yeah, so before your heads get any bigger and before your fear of losing your jobs gets any worse, consider that job loss is not such a great thing in the grand scheme of things when you're talking about criminal conspiracy and fines upwards to $25 million. Just some food for thought. Thanks for listening.